Now the way that it's written too low, all right, but I wrote it down there so that there's more in the staff and not a bunch of ledger lines for you to read. I'll play it where it's written. You can hear that's too low, all right? It's kind of muddy. So I'd want to play that up here instead, okay? So just bear in mind when you're seeing these written out and they're written down there and it sounds kind of, you know, not too good because it's really muddy, just think, okay, I got to play it up an octave. Okay, it's written down here for ease of reading. So, playing it up an octave, there's my form B. Okay? Now the form B is just the 7th, the 9th, the 3rd, and the 5th. Now I want to pause for a second and just let you know that we're not adding on any notes or taking away any notes between the two forms. All we're doing is just shifting the notes. So instead of playing the 3, 5, 7, 9, we're playing 7, 9, 3, 5. Okay? So it's just going and then taking these two notes and moving it up here. All right? That's it. Taking these two notes, moving it up here. Okay? Okay? Real nice sounding chord, that major 7. All right, once again, the tensions that are being used on the major 7 are just 9 right now. So it's the 3rd, the 5th, the 7th, and the 9th. We don't really need much more than that. Now, say you wanted to add on sharp 11, well, you could probably get rid of the 5th here and do that. Put your sharp 11 right there. Do that. You usually probably wouldn't want to do this. It's a little too much. Okay? Now, another question that you might have is, well, wait a second, you're playing the 3rd, the 5th, the 7th, and the 9th, right? Or the 7, 9, 3, 5. Well, why not 5, 7, 9, 3, right? Couldn't you do that? Or could you do 9, 3, 5, 7? Yeah, absolutely. All that's going on is these are just inversions, right? It's just an inversion of the 3rd, the 5th, the 7th, and the 9th. So I could go here, I could go there, I could go here, I could go there, right? The reason that there's the A form and the B form, which by the way, that's just kind of arbitrary. I think John Mahegan used A form, B form way back like 60s and the 70s in his books. It's pretty common in the jazz world thinking of it in A form, B form, but you know, the A form, B form, you could switch those back and forth. The A form could be this, and that could be the B form. It doesn't really matter. It's just a way of labeling it. So don't get hung up on Form A and Form B. Those two forms are just common, easy inversions of one another, with the 3rd on the bottom or the 7th on the bottom. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't use the 9th on the bottom. It doesn't mean that you can't use the 5th on the bottom. It just so happens that these are nice and easy, and they're easy to get to one another, and they're spread out. So you have some choice here. You can go down there where it's a little meatier, or up here where it's a little bit lighter sounding, okay, and moving from there. It also makes it a lot easier if you get down 2 forms rather than trying to get down 4 forms, okay? Because learning that and that is a little bit easier than having to learn that, oh, sorry, that, and then that, okay? So really, by doing Form A and Form B, you have only 2 forms of each of the chords, whereas if you do the other one, you would have 4 forms of the chords. Okay, said enough about that. But it is a good question, you know, to wonder, like, well, can I, you know, do that instead? Now, the reason that you might want to do something like this instead is also if you want to add on that sharp 11, right? Or if you want to do it down here. There's no one right or wrong way, really, of making chord voicings. There's good and bad choices, and there's good and bad choices on how you move between chords. All right, and we're going to talk about how to move in between chords, all right, which is called voice leading. But you know, if you want that sound, you know, that sound, that sound, that sound, that sound, that. They're all major 7s, really just all based upon that major scale. And if you want to add in the sharp 11, okay. So I mean, you can even do that for a major chord if you really, really wanted to, if you wanted that sound, okay. So point being, there's a lot of options, but learn those 2 forms first, then you can branch out into those other options. Okay, So I'm going to pause here and then use the next chapter to talk about the minor 7 and the dominant 7th chord voicing, so I don't want to rush that. Okay, so see you in the next chapter.